Well, hey everyone, welcome into another episode of the Inside Voice podcast. We are getting into the final month of the year. It is insanity. Before we get into the series that we're going to be kicking off for the month of December, I want to share something with you. And this is probably like so insignificant, but really it's such a good reminder for us. I'm just going to start off by saying like this podcast has been a learning experience for me. I did this for a couple of years, put it on the shelf for a little bit, and just brought it back this year in June. And it's been so fun. It's been exciting and thrilling, and it's been this passion project for me, and I've really, really enjoyed it. Plus, it feels like something that God has called me to do, which just makes it feel even more fulfilling. I'm telling you right now, even in like the brief break that I took, I'm talking like less than 2 years, maybe a year, maybe a little over a year. So much has changed. So much has changed as far as technology goes, as far as how many people are podcasting now, how many people are creating content online, even like the tools that we're using these days. It's wild to me how much has progressed. So one of the things that we're doing new with this podcast is we're filming, and we haven't filmed a lot. If you only listen to the podcast, you don't watch the podcast, you can watch it if you want. The Inside Voice podcast is on YouTube. You can subscribe there and come hang out and see this shining face. But part of filming complicates things just a little bit because obviously I have to look at the camera when I'm talking, and I'm a radio DJ. Like I'm looking this way, I'm looking that way. Like I'm not looking anywhere except for like the little padded room that I sit in and I talk all by myself. But a microphone. And I've tried to film this podcast before and it didn't quite work out the way that I wanted it to. I was trying to like pull my microphone over and like have that sit in front of me. And there are podcasters that do that. You know, they've got the arm that comes down and it puts the mic right in front of people, which is great. I opted for a lapel mic, and I mean, even just getting a lapel mic is so much easier than it used to be and less expensive than it used to be. That is the beauty of technology advancing. But I'm learning. That's what I'm getting to with this whole entire backstory. I am learning a lot every single week. And I learned with this lapel mic that you can literally, you don't have to clip it on anything. You can put the magnet on the back. I was wondering, I didn't know why there was a magnet on the back of it and why you could remove the magnet as well. Like it just didn't make sense to me. And so I finally figured it out that you can put it on your shirt like this. So hopefully this is better than this like thing on my neck, and hopefully this brings some better audio because it's in a better position. But man, I'm telling you, if there's anything that you are setting out to do, just know there's always going to be room for you to learn. There's always going to be opportunities for improvement. And it's okay for you just to be like, I didn't know. So I didn't know. I made a stupid assumption about a microphone. And like, I was seeing all these people on Instagram with these microphones just floating on their shirt. And I'm like, how are they doing that? Duh. Mine's equipped to do that as well. God bless. Let that just be a reminder to you. Like, just get going, be ready to learn and adapt, and give yourself some grace in the process. So we are starting a series for Christmas that I'm excited about. It's all about seasons greetings because I'm seeing it everywhere. Being out and about and doing some Christmas shopping and being out at the grocery store or at holiday pop-ups and stuff. There are certain words that you see everywhere. And I think they're kind of going through your head right now. Words like peace, joy, love. What else did I have on there? I had my whole list. Hold on, let me take a look. Joy, peace, hope. Yeah, can't forget hope. Love, and also cheer. Cheer is one that gets thrown around a lot. Christmas cheer, holiday cheer, have a cup of cheer. That's in a holiday song. Some jingle out there. So have a cup of cheer. I can't think of the name of it right now. I should have wrote it down. But I thought it'd be fun to kind of unpack each of these words and really apply them to the holiday season. If we're going to be throwing them around, if we're going to be finding ornaments that have these words on them and putting them on our tree, if we're going to get tea towels and signs to put up around the house, kind of like the live, laugh, love sign that a lot of, Southern households have, I thought it'd be fun to actually dive into those words and apply them to the holiday season. So maybe we can have a true holiday season where we are just living our best life and truly enjoying the season. And I think slowing it down, breaking it down into what we're going to be doing is a 5-week process here, a 5-week series. I think it would be really beneficial for us to like implement one at a time. And I think in doing that, it would help us slow down a little bit. This holiday season and any holiday season, it tends to go by so quickly. I mean, for crying out loud, we're done with Thanksgiving. And I feel like we were just getting ready for Halloween like last week, but that's not the case. Thanksgiving is in the books. I hope it was a wonderful time with loved ones and family. I hope that maybe you were able to apply some of the principles that we talked about with difficult people to create peace in your household and your work environment and even in your neighborhood as well. I'm hoping for the same thing as we move through this series, that just these little things, these little reminders, these little encouragements, these little words, these season's greetings that we have all throughout the month of December, focusing on each one each week would give you an opportunity to truly enjoy this time of year. And hopefully it'll make it feel like you actually lived through this holiday season, because honestly, it goes by so quickly. And I think when we allow ourselves to just be so stressed out and so wrapped up in like creating the perfect holiday, we miss it. We absolutely miss it. We're so set on a to-do list. We're so set on a checklist. We're so set on the perfect photos for Instagram and the perfect memories for our children, or the perfect decorations in the house. You know, like we're so set on those things and what it looks like. That we miss actually being in the season and enjoying it. And I don't know about you, but I feel like when I was a kid, just living in the moment, I mean, it was a no-brainer, right? It's like you're a kid, like it's Christmas, you're in it. You're not thinking so much about like, is this going to be the best Christmas ever? No, because you're too busy making it the best Christmas ever, right? It's like you're truly in it and loving it. And so we're going to start with one of the easier ones, I think. One of the ones that I think is going to be a little more fun to implement, and one that I think is going to be a good foundation and like a ground level for us to start in before we dive into ones that might be a little heavier or a little more complicated or a little deep, a little deeper. We're gonna start with cheer. Everybody loves cheer, right? So starting off with cheer, I think it's a little bit of a soft toss here because mostly we need this because Thanksgiving just happened and we're depleted. Like we're still eating Thanksgiving leftovers, for crying out loud. Like we're still probably walking around in sweatpants. Maybe we've gone back to work. Maybe we haven't gone back to work. Maybe we're on extended holiday for Thanksgiving. Like we're still recovering, I guess is the best way to put it. So I thought cheer would be easy. We're going to start with the definition of cheer, and I just pulled this straight from, the internet. Take it with a grain of salt, but the definition of cheer is to shout encouragement or praise. Like cheering for a sports team or cheering for, your kids when they do well in school. Like you think of cheer, even just the word itself kind of feels like an action. It feels like a verb. It feels like an emotion, a facial expression. It's hard to say cheer without putting a little smile on it, a little smirk, right? You can't just be like, cheer. I had to put so many facial muscles into making sure that my mouth just didn't naturally turn up, Actually, in my research of the word, I found that it comes from like an old French term. It's CHERE. I don't know if it's cheer, sheer, sherry, which I think sounds a little more fun. But it's interesting because that is a word that means face. And like over time, according to the internet, slowly but surely, people using this word to describe face, it just kind of became a matter of expression. And then it naturally became this new word of cheer, which is what we are using now, just like throughout the years and over time. And again, it truly is. It's an expression. So when I think of cheer, I think of cheer being like this unbridled excitement that's just bubbling over, right? You can't contain it. It's like being a kid all over again. And we talk about kids around Christmas time, just like leaning in, all in, it's all Christmas, 100%, like we're going for it. And I think about how that's such a perfect example of what cheer is. Kids, they're excitable, they laugh, they're not, for the most part, they're not really self-conscious about their emotions. Like, they're just let it out. The giggles, the laughter, the squeals, the screams, the happiness, just it comes out of them. Like, they just can't hold it in. And that to me is cheer. I mean, have you ever seen a kid at Christmas? Like, they're not well, sometimes they do pout, but you can't pout because then Santa Claus ain't coming to town. We're just referencing all of the holiday classics. But they're excitable and they come running down the stairs on Christmas morning and they're tearing into the presents and they're in wonder and they're just like their eyes are filled with like light and hope and joy. And you go out to like a light display and just seeing their faces light up. I mean, it truly is cheer. It is an expression of what they're feeling inside. And I absolutely love that childlike feel that cheer gives us. And I think it is something that we do need in the holidays, even as we're older. You know what I mean? Especially when we're older, because a lot of times it can be robbed of us. And when I think of cheer, another thing that I think of is it's something to be shared. It is something to be passed on to somebody else. Like we talked about, this bubbling over of emotion, like you can't contain it. Like it's just going to spread. It's going to spread to other people. It's going to spread to your environment. It's going to spread into the space that you're in right now. Like it is something that is meant to be expressed. It is meant to be shared. It is meant to be encouraged as well. And in the words of Buddy the Elf, the best way to spread Christmas cheer is by singing loud for all to hear. I mean, if you're so filled with the Christmas spirit, maybe you are just gonna like let out a song. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Go for it. Spread that holiday cheer. Okay. And I think specifically when it comes to Christmas cheer, because cheer isn't just for the holiday season. You can be cheerful and experience cheer and encourage others to be cheerful as well any time of year. But Christmas cheer specifically, it's very much focused on kindness and goodwill towards others. It's focused on are channeled into service and gifts for one another. We give presents to one another, we volunteer, we donate a lot during the holidays. There seems to be like this cheerful giver spirit, which is biblical. And it's like cheer is the DNA of the holiday season. It's like the catalyst to the holiday season. Again, we're bubbling over and we can't help but share that cheer with others. And we talk about it being in the Bible and being a cheerful giver. We are called to do that. We're called to share and to give to one another and be that cheerful giver, not out of compulsion, but just because like we can't contain it, we have to give it. The Bible also tells us that we are told to be of good cheer in the midst of tribulations, because we're not alone in those tribulations. We're told to be of good cheer in the midst of our fears and our anxiety, and to combat those things because the Lord himself has already overcome the world. So there's nothing that we should be fearful about, and we should be of good cheer. Like people should know that we love Jesus because of our cheer. And if you don't know Jesus yet, that's okay. You can still be cheerful and share that in the holiday season. So I guess we got to get down into like, how do we actually cultivate cheer into our lives? Because like anything, like any emotion that you're feeling, any habit that you're trying to establish, any, like going about life, there has to be intentionality. You're not going to stumble into cheer. You're not going to stumble into new habits. You're not going to stumble into achieving your goals. Like there is an intentionality in life. And same thing with this series when it comes to joy and hope and peace and love. Like we're going to have to be intentional in cultivating that, creating that, and sharing that with others. So how do we cultivate cheer in our lives? I think number one, again, we're going to softball here, okay? We'll get into some heavier stuff, but I think the easiest way to cultivate cheer is simply to tap into your child, like your inner child. Act like a kid. And I'm not talking about the spoiled brat that, wants more and more and more when it comes to presents and is so mad when Santa Claus doesn't bring him what he wants. Like that's not the kid that I'm talking about. There's no bah humbugs allowed when it comes to Christmas, especially when it comes to Christmas cheer. But I'm talking about like the kid that is just all in for Christmas. Like you're excited, you're joyful, you're filled with light, and like we've been talking about, you can't help but share that and to encourage one another and to be so enthralled with the holiday season. And I think one of the easiest ways that we can tap into our inner child is to simply do kid things. We spend so much of our childhood wanting to grow up and wanting to be an adult. And then we get to adulthood and all we want to do is go back and be a kid. But for whatever reason, we never allow ourselves to do that. Maybe we do if we have kids, or maybe we do if we just, are sick of the world and we're so tired of, the stresses and the weights of it. But I think like this is one of my favorite things to do. And my husband's the same way. Like we love to do kid things. Like a lot of our dates when we were dating were kid things, like going and doing go-karts or arcades, just kind of tapping into who we were as kids, the good old days, if you will, but also getting to experience that cheer, for lack of a better term, with one another is great. So this holiday season, drink the hot cocoa with extra marshmallows, go see the Christmas lights, drive through a light display, stop and just take it all in. Play in the snow, watch the holiday movies in your festive pajamas, maybe pull out an old Christmas tradition from when you were a kid and share it with your spouse or share it with your kids, You kind of have to be careful with that one sometimes because they might think, this is dumb. I can't believe you enjoyed doing this as a kid. So, just understand like not everybody's going to get it the way that you get it. But I don't think there's anything wrong with just being a kid at Christmas. I would encourage you to do that with a lot of different parts of your life, tap into being a kid, because I think there's so much of our childhood that we lose that honestly would be beneficial for us in the future. And we can dive into that next year for sure. Got so many ideas for the new year. But especially at Christmas. And I think if you can tap into that inner child, you're going to be present in this holiday season. Okay. So yeah, tap into your inner child, act like that kid. Another way that we can cultivate cheer, and I've got 4 of these for you. Rekindle your sense of wonder. This has a lot to do with being a kid because kids are filled with that wonder. They are not self-conscious about being in awe. They will just, again, let out those emotions without being afraid of like somebody making fun of them or thinking that they're silly. You know what I mean? So I want to encourage you to try to see Christmas as a season filled with awe, a season filled with wonder. I think someone who is truly in awe and practices this idea of wonder, it's really hard for them to be cynical. It really is. Like you can't be a grumpy old Scrooge, and you can't really be, closed off to anything because you're captivated by it. That wonder stimulates that captivation, and it's hard not to have cheer when you're filled with wonder. So try to see Christmas maybe as you did as a kid, like those wonderful memories from back in the day, or maybe try to see Christmas as like you've never seen it before. Like this is brand new, and every decoration that goes on the tree has meaning and depth, and every cup of cocoa is like this whole experience of delightfulness and tranquility, and basically like lavish and romanticize this season. And I think that will spark your sense of wonder, which will ultimately fill you with that holiday cheer, the decor, the lights, the people, the food, everything. Number 3, you're gonna think I'm so cheesy for this, but smile. Just do it. Do it right now. Put a smile on your face. I don't care what is going on around you. I don't care how your morning went, if you spilled a cup of coffee, if you ran late for work, whatever. Put a smile on your face right now. Just do it. Think of something that delights you and just smile. Think about the last thing that made you belly laugh. I immediately thought of one. And it makes you laugh. And smiling is it's so powerful. It's so simple and it sounds so silly. You know, you can be in a grumpy mood or be irritated by something and you're like, the last thing I'm going to do is smile. However, smiling, this simple act, this changing of your facial expression actually has an impact on your brain. So I did a little research on this and kind of nerded out for a little bit. But this one simple thing that you do, just smiling, can actually help rewire your brain, because your brain actually takes cues from your face, from your facial expressions. So if you're pouting, your brain's gonna be like, whoa, thumbs up. If you're smiling, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, thumbs up. Okay, we're happy now. That simple smile can actually signal to your brain to release good neurotransmitters and hormones like dopamine and serotonin and endorphins, which ultimately, if your brain can release those things, your mood will be boosted. That's why smiling and laughing makes you feel good. And if you can repeat this behavior, it actually can create new neural pathways that improve your mood and reduce your stress. That's something that we want 24/7, 365. It's definitely something that we want during the holiday season, because this is a time that we actually want to enjoy. This is the most wonderful time of the year. We're closing out 2025. Like, we do want to actually enjoy this time, and we don't want to be super stressed through all of it. So again, it sounds so silly, and you might feel borderline like a psychopath smiling when you're angry or stressed out or somebody cut you off in traffic. I don't know why that made me laugh. I guess I just had a vision of somebody like laying on the horn, but like you're smiling the entire time. Like, I'm so mad at you. You're the worst person on earth, but here's my smile. Oh gosh. See, I'm in a good mood because I'm smiling and laughing. But yeah, so that's the third thing. And the fourth thing, if we're going to be cultivating cheer, and I am such a huge advocate for this for so many reasons. It's so good for us in so many different ways. Simply showing up to serve another person. Serving with your time, serving with your knowledge, your generosity, your energy, your emotions, your words, your encouragement. Serving somebody else, pouring into somebody else, it does so many wonderful things for us. It stirs up love, it stirs up joy and peace, and it calms down anxiety. And ultimately, I think it really does make this cheer bubble up within us, and it pours over. You know, I feel like if you can show up with good intentions and a servant's heart to take care of somebody else, that cheer just starts stirring in you, you know, and it comes out. And sometimes you need to do the action first before you get the emotion. Again, we're trying to cultivate this feeling of cheer, this idea of cheer, this practice of cheer. And that comes with an action and an intentionality. So if you can create the action, much like smiling, well, then you will create the emotion that you actually want. So showing up to serve, even if maybe you don't necessarily want to, trying to fix your attitude in the midst of serving really will give you this level of cheer that I think is going to be beneficial throughout the holiday season. And this is another reason why I wanted to start with this. I wanted to give you opportunities to act like a kid and rekindle your sense of wonder, and to show up and serve one another and slap a smile on your face, so that way you can go through the entire season with a cheerful spirit, being of good cheer, you know, and allowing that to bubble up and spill over. And I think that will not only make your holiday season better, I think it would make everybody around you's holiday season better too, because they're just going to feed off of that. They're going to feel your energy. They're going to feel your spirit and the love of Jesus coming out of you as well. Like, they're going to feel that, and it's just going to make their holiday better. And ultimately, if we can all have a good holiday, everybody's going to have a good holiday. Saying that, it makes it seem like I'm saying, oh, we're just going to have to get through this together. But I hope that you stick around for the rest of the series as we move into other seasons greetings. That's kind of what I'm calling it, the seasons greetings series. Again, I want to encourage you and just run through these real quick to, try to act like a child this week in a good way, just joyful and excited about this holiday season. Rekindle your sense of wonder through that process, slap a smile on your face, and show up for others in the ways that you can. I think if you can start to implement those practices, you're going to find yourself cheerful. You're going to find yourself in a can't help but just share this with other people spirit. And I think that's a beautiful thing for the holiday season. So join us next week. We're going to be diving into another one. I'm not going to tell you which one it is. Okay. I do have it all mapped out, but I'm not going to tell you because I want you to be surprised. So have a cheerful week, and I'll see you next week.